everyone. I hope that you're doing amazing wherever you are in the world. My name is Shikha and I welcome you to my channel. I hope that you've been enjoying all the videos I've been posting, and if not, let me know, give me feedback. I've been a little sick the last few days, so I'm a little bit sweaty, as you can see. I'm still feverish. But I wanted to do this video because I've been thinking about doing it for a while. And it's something to do with how recently, well, not recently, a couple of months ago, maybe longer than that, I'm losing track of time. Anyways, a few months ago, 3 months maybe, a friend of mine told me that she believes I'm on the spectrum. Definitely have ADHD, and maybe even am autistic even. And so I, started researching on it like crazy because that's what I do. And I realized, yes, oh my gosh, I can't believe it. There's so many things, particularly actually when I was a child, that I did. And if I read any of the articles about children with anxiety or children with ADHD or children on the spectrum, it's like literally they're talking about my life when I was a child. And like once you know, you can't unknow. And so I'm looking at all this stuff and I'm like, oh my gosh, how did I live my life? How did I get to the age of 40 almost, not knowing all of these things about me, like not knowing that I was on the spectrum, not knowing that I was doing all these things to mask, to protect myself, and to make sure that I could fit into the world even though it was so difficult. Now that I realize all this stuff, it's so much easier because I go into the world with this perspective, realizing, okay, yeah, no, I don't have to fit in because I'm not going to fit in. It's not going to happen. Just forget about it. And so that kind of gives me a little bit of relief, actually a lot of relief. And I'm just sitting there thinking, okay, yeah, no, I don't have to do it actually. I don't have to fit in. I can do whatever I want. I can live exactly the way I want. Not that I was going to change anything, but there's always this like underlying anxiety that I had, that I was kind of living my life in a very haphazard fashion because I didn't understand how to live in a normal fashion. And now, not that I'm living in a normal fashion, but I'm realizing that the way I live, a lot of it is because I had to adjust to the idea I had in my head that this is what normal living is like, and I need to adjust in my head so I can do things normally, whatever that means. And so, the more I kind of look at it, the more I understood myself and my weird quirks even better. The more I realized that there are so many overlaps between so many different aspects of ourselves. For example, I think that a lot of the things that I've spoken about on my channel as an INFJ are partly to do with the fact that I'm on the spectrum. So there's so many overlaps between INFJs and INTJs as well, and ADHD or the spectrum, because the autistic spectrum. Because what happens is that INFJs in general and people on the spectrum, neurodivergent people, they're just not able to fit into the round peg that is this world. They're a square peg in a round hole, and they're not able to fit in there. And so they do all these things to adjust and to make sure that they are able to live in the world. Otherwise, we would just have to leave, and we don't want to do that. And so we do all of these random things to adjust, and I think a lot of this kind of comes up for us as INFJs or as people on the spectrum as masking, as things that we're like, oh, I'm not good enough, or self-worth issues, self-esteem issues. All that stuff comes up, and all of that tends to overlap with each other, not only with these two aspects, but also with I would say PTSD. And a lot of times I'm looking at the stuff that I do, and I've had even people messaging me on the channel. A lot of you have messaged me saying, that sounds like something that you do because of trauma, childhood trauma, not because something that you do because of who you are. And I look into it, and like, you can't really distinguish between all these different aspects of yourself. Like, is it because I'm on the spectrum, or is it because I'm an INFJ, or is it because I have trauma, or I have PTSD from all the things that happened in the past, or is it because this is just the way I am? Like, there's so many weird things that are going on at the same time. It's so complicated. It's so hard to discern or to like untangle this web of who we are, this personality that we've created after years and years and years and years of living, that you can't figure it out. And then on top of that, if you believe in this stuff, you also have the fact that your past lives, if you do believe in that, I do, that your past lives are affecting things as well in this moment in time. So the reason why you might do certain things is not because it's something to do with your current life, but because you've had this pattern in your past life, and it's just kind of been transmuted or transmitted to you in this moment in time as you are standing here. Or it could be family ancestral trauma that you're kind of carrying around with you forever. I mean, those are only like 4 or 5 things that are potentially the issue or potentially the reason why you are the way you are, you know. There's so many other things, life experiences, past relationships, trust issues because of past relationships, which is a lot of what I do, why I do things the way I do. And so, you know, it's so hard to untangle all of this. And so I wanted to do this video because I know a lot of you are probably confused as to, am I an INFJ? And that, I get that question a lot. Or, you know, am I on the spectrum? I've been getting this question more now that I've been doing more videos about this. You know, is this trauma, or is it actually like my personality, or am I actually like this, or am I a weirdo, or like is it real? Like all of this stuff is confusing as anything. I understand, because I'm in the same confusion right now. I don't know what is what. I don't know if all of the things, all of the videos I've done till now saying I'm an INFJ and these are the things I do is because actually I'm on the spectrum and these are the things I do is what I should be saying, you know. Not that I'm going to go back and change all those videos, because a lot of it is because I'm an INFJ, or like is related to the personality trait. And as I said, it's very difficult to untangle the whole mess of the web that is our personality. So I can't really pinpoint and say this is exactly why, because of this, and this is because of that. You know, you can't separate all of this stuff because everything is so interconnected. But I wanted to do this video is because I do realize a lot of you have been messaging me saying, you know, I don't think INFJs can have ADHD, or, you know, I am on the spectrum, but I don't think I'm an INFJ, and like this and that. And but they relate to a lot of my videos, even though they believe they're not INFJ. And so I wanted to do this video just to kind of clarify that. First of all, I'm not an expert. I'm a complete amateur, and some of the videos I've done, you will see that I'm an amateur, and there's almost all of them. So I'm doing this because of my own life experiences and the way I've noticed myself and other INFJs behaving, and that's what I'm basing these videos on. I'm not an expert. I'm not a trained psychologist or a therapist or anything like that, obviously. So that's the first thing you have to keep in mind. The second thing is, as I said, things are very complicated. Personality is the most complicated thing on the planet. Yes, INFJs, you know, when you're kind of like putting into these 4 letters, you're kind of very simplifying the whole situation, and I understand it's a big simplification. But it's a good way to kind of start off your journey of learning more about yourself. And then, as I said, you know, you figure out you're an INFJ, so you learn all this stuff about yourself. And then you're like, okay, what else do I do? And then you kind of maybe go to the human design system and you learn a little bit more about that. And then perhaps you go and figure out, oh, maybe I'm on the spectrum. And then you do that. And then you do a little bit of trauma work and you realize that. And then you do a little bit of ancestral healing work, or perhaps you do some past life regression, you know. And the more you learn about yourself, the more techniques you use, the more different aspects of yourself you learn about, the more you're kind of building this puzzle, this very complicated puzzle, this like a 1,000,000-piece puzzle that you are. You know, you're kind of building up this puzzle that you are and learning more about yourself. But this journey of learning about yourself will never end. I mean, if I'm doing videos by the time I'm 80, 40 years down the line, I'll probably be doing videos where I'm like, I have no idea who I am anymore because I just found out blah, 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 you know? And so I think I'll constantly be, and you are as well, constantly learning about yourself and realizing this is who I am, this is not who I am, this is what I used to be, or I had no idea, but this is what I am and I just found out, kind of thing, right? And so, as I said, very complicated, really hard to discern, really hard to untangle, but every little puzzle piece is a move in the positive direction, because you're learning more about yourself. And that is literally, I think, the main point of all this. It doesn't matter if you're an INFJ or an INTJ or an INFP. Like, the letters themselves don't matter. And I've said this many times before. The letters are just, they're inconsequential. The point of it is, what do you relate to? Do you relate to the videos I do? Do you understand yourself better because of them? Do you feel less alone in the world because of them? Do you feel like you are able to feel less cringeworthy, or like less annoyed with yourself, or less ashamed of yourself because of watching these videos? All of this, the more you learn about yourself, is going to lead you into that direction of loving yourself more, having higher self-esteem, believing that you're not a freak or an alien or a strange person, but that you just are. And all of this is going to result in like more positive emotions within yourself towards yourself. And that's all we really want. Like, that's what we want. That's why we're doing this. We're not doing it so we can tell everyone we're an INFJ. We're not doing it so we can tell everyone that all of our problems are because we have ADHD. We're not doing all of this to find excuses for ourselves or to play the victim role. We're not doing that for that reason. We're doing it so we can learn more about ourselves. And the more we learn about ourselves, the more we love ourselves. And that's what I've really noticed about this whole journey is like when I first found out that I had ADHD, that I was on the spectrum, I started reading up about myself, about, you know, people who are on the spectrum, and oh my gosh, just learning more about it, I realized what an amazing, unique person I am. Not that everyone isn't, but like just for myself, I learned more about myself and how I had used so many interesting techniques to get through my day because I was confused about the world that I lived in. And so I did all these interesting things to assimilate myself to the world, or to adjust myself to the world. And I'm in awe of this person that I used to be, this young human being that was like, I don't fit in this world, but I want to, because I want to make sure that I can just survive in the world. So I'm going to do all these interesting things to make sure that I fit into the world in that little way that I can. And just looking at it, just learning about myself, and looking at this young person that I was, filled with anxiety, filled with all of these random emotions that I could not identify, and all that more, I realized that I really love myself more because of that. The more I learn about myself, the more I'm like, oh, this is actually, I really like myself. You know, I'm not the most magnificent person out there, or like talented in any way, or have any kind of skills or anything that's like amazing. But the more I learn about myself and all the things I've done to get to the point where I am right now, I love myself more because of that. And I think that's the whole point of this whole journey of like figuring out who you are, is, you know, more love for who you are. And I don't think that's something that I think that's pretty priceless. Yeah, it's very hard to get to. And the more you can love yourself, you should just like grab onto it and hold on to it, and just never let go. So I wanted to do this video hopefully to kind of explain my perspective on things. And in the next one, if I remember, I will try to do some things about what overlaps I've noticed. This one I just wanted to do as an introduction to it. But next time around, perhaps, if I remember, I will speak about all the different ways I've noticed ADHD and INFJs are pretty similar. Or some things that I do that I realized I thought they were because I was an INFJ, and they probably are partly because of that, but also because I realized more that it's because of the spectrum thing. Yeah, let me know what your thoughts are on this. I don't know if many of you said that you have INFJ, you are an INFJ and you are on the spectrum as well. I think a couple of you did, but either way, I'd love to hear from all of you about what you think about this video. Again, thank you so much for listening, for being on my channel. I really appreciate all your support, and I shall see you in the next one. Bye for now.